Chicago City Council panel backs purchase of former Jewel site for migrant shelter. Chicago, CBS. A City Council committee on Monday approved Mayor Brandon Johnson's request to purchase a vacant Jewel store and parking lot near 115th and Halsted Streets to use as a shelter for migrants. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than the Committee on Housing and Real Estate backed a proposal to have the city purchase the 6.5-acre site from Jewel parent company Albertsons for $1. Although the proposed ordinance does not spell out if the city plans to repurpose the store itself as a shelter, sources have said the city plans to use the parking lot to set up a so-called base camp of winterized tents for up to 1,400 asylum seekers. The committee approved the purchase by a simple voice vote. Only Ald. David Moore, 17th, voted no, after city officials could not tell him how much the city would have to pay in property taxes on the site. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than the proposal now goes to the full city council for final approval as soon as Wednesday. Residents in the area have been adamant about not wanting a migrant camp at the site, and on Monday morning, Ald. Ronnie Mosley, 21st, released a letter criticizing the Johnson administration for moving forward with the shelter despite the community's concerns. The site had already been earmarked to become Morgan Park Commons, a development of housing, retail, and park space. The state of Illinois set aside $15 million for that project. The proposal to purchase the site for a migrant shelter would still leave the door open for that development. After the site is no longer needed as a migrant camp, Mosley is demanding a full commitment from the Johnson administration to break ground on the Morgan Park Commons next year. The 21st Ward will not tolerate the prioritization of a crisis over our needs and voices. Mosley wrote, "There are still many questions about safety, timelines, and care for our own residents that have not been answered. The 21st Ward deserves answers to these questions, and I will continue to fight for a true commitment to an investment in our community from this administration." Mosley said he also wants a commitment for support for another housing development in his ward, improvements at Percy Julian High School, and a shelter for unhoused Chicago residents. The administration says we can service Chicagoans and asylum seekers in need. Consequently, I am calling for the 21st Ward to have a temporary shelter for Chicagoans so residents of this community can become more housing secure, Mosley wrote. This all comes as Chicago sees its first freezing temperatures of the season. Sunday night, Johnson's office announced the city would provide blankets and coats to both newly arrived migrants and Chicago's existing unhoused people, the mayor's office also said. Warming buses would be stationed at 16 Chicago police stations, while the city also works with faith-based groups to plan for additional emergency staging and shelter.